be invited to help celebrate the development of the key characteristics of carcinogens, and in particular, the leadership role of Professor Martin Smith. My name is Mary Schubauer-Berrigan, and I'm head of the Monographs program in Lyon, France. I'm thrilled to join you in celebrating the long and fruitful collaboration between the Monographs and Professor Smith in developing the key characteristics as an outgrowth of the Volume 100 series. I apologize that I can't be with you live. However, we're in the middle of Monographs Volume 132 meeting on occupational exposure as a firefighter. As many of you know, the monographs are a global endeavor. Since 1971, more than 1,300 scientists from over 50 countries have participated in monographs meetings. The Monographs program is one of cancer hazard identification. 3 streams of evidence are evaluated by expert working groups: cancer in humans, cancer in experimental animals, and mechanistic evidence. These 3 streams are integrated to reach an overall evaluation. In addition, human exposure is characterized within each monograph. As I'm sure you know, in 2009, the Monographs program convened a series of meetings in Volume 100, bringing experts together to reevaluate the existing Group 1 agents. This resulted in several workshops to identify solutions to some of the challenges in evaluating mechanistic data, which Kate has already identified. This meeting resulted in the development of the 10 key characteristics of carcinogens. As Kate has explained, these are the chemical and biological properties of the established human carcinogens. Data on these KCs can provide evidence of carcinogenicity even in the absence of direct evidence of cancer in humans or in experimental animals. And they may be used to assemble data relevant to mechanisms without needing an a priori hypothesis of the mechanism. There have been a number of landmark publications related to the development of the KCs. There are, of course, 3 distinct topics that can influence overall evaluations in the IARC monographs. These include whether an agent belongs based on mechanistic considerations to a class of agents, one or more of which is probably carcinogenic or carcinogenic to humans. In addition, evidence related to the key characteristics can be evaluated, and in my talk, I'll be focusing on evidence in exposed humans. Step 5 of the systematic review process is carried out in an 8-day meeting in Lyon. The evidence is first synthesized within each evidence stream individually using predefined criteria. Then, the evidence is integrated across the streams using guidelines established in the new preamble into one of 4 groups. Group 1, carcinogenic to humans. Group 2A, probably carcinogenic to humans. Group 2B, possibly carcinogenic. And Group 3, not. The mechanistic evidence in our new preamble has become increasingly important. Evidence in exposed humans can combine with sufficient evidence in animal bioassays to produce a Group 1 overall evaluation. There are more than 250 agents classified already with sufficient evidence for cancer in experimental animals and inadequate evidence regarding cancer in humans. These could benefit most from examination of mechanistic evidence in exposed humans. Some recent examples are listed here, and for example, cobalt-2 oxide was just evaluated in March. Many of these notably are particles, fibers, and metals. In addition, limited evidence for cancer in humans plus strong mechanistic evidence, including in exposed humans, can combine to reach Group 2A. If we have only strong mechanistic evidence, including in exposed humans, a Group 2B evaluation could be achieved. Here's a brief look at the breadth of recent carcinogenicity evaluations by the Monographs program. In just the past 10 years, 133 environmentally relevant agents have been evaluated or reevaluated. This schema shows their classifications with Group 1 in the center, moving outward to Group 3 at the periphery. Grouped by agent type and colored by evidence stream, contributing to the evaluation. Notably, nearly all Group 1 agents have contributions from multiple evidence streams. It's quite rare for human cancer evidence to form the sole basis for an evaluation. In Group 2A, there are numerous instances of limited human cancer evidence combining with either mechanistic or bioassay evidence. Agents in groups 2A to 3 are particularly apt targets for epidemiologic research on carcinogen mechanisms. Of course, mechanistic evidence in exposed humans, mostly workers, has long played an influential role in carcinogenicity evaluations. The 7 agents listed here benefited from upgrades or strong complements to human cancer evidence. For many of these agents, the mechanistic upgrade occurred decades ago, but the evaluation still stands as of the most recent evaluation in the Volume 100 series because of a lack of new human cancer studies. Since the adoption of the 2019 preamble, the role of mechanistic evidence has elevated, and studies in exposed humans have been evaluated by several working groups. Most of these have had few studies or inconsistent findings. An exception, perhaps, is occupational exposure as a firefighter, which is being evaluated as I speak. Interestingly, many of these agents appear to have evidence related to non-genotoxic effects. Looking forward, numerous agents with evidence in KCs in exposed humans have been nominated for evaluation by our 2019 advisory group on priorities. Many of these are supported by evidence related to non-genotoxic endpoints, including carbon nanotubes and other nanomaterials, perfluorinated compounds, bisphenol A, talc, and carbon black. At a recent symposium held at the EPICO conference in Montreal, attendees pondered important questions about how to increase the informativeness of mechanistic studies in exposed humans. For example, were features of the study population most important? What about attributes of study design, like adequate power, minimal selection bias, and residual confounding? Or attributes of endpoint selection and measurement? How do we measure complex endpoints like immunosuppression and chronic inflammation? What's the persistence and specificity of KC endpoints? For example, electrophilicity and genotoxicity, which appear to be rather persistent, versus epigenetic effects and oxidative stress. Are there specific attributes and quality of the exposure assessment that are quite key in making these studies more useful? Is it simply a matter of not having enough well-designed and conducted study? I'll conclude by mentioning future endeavors related to mechanistic evidence evaluation in the Monographs program. Building on the EPICO Symposium, we aim to co-lead a workshop on study design and analysis considerations for mechanistic studies in exposed humans, explicitly related to the KCs. We have already begun planning for a workshop in Lyon in summer 2023 on endpoint measurement for non-genotoxic KCs, particularly epigenetic effects and chronic inflammation. In the next 2 years, we will convene a workshop on filling human evidence gaps, including mechanistic evidence gaps, for the agents whose carcinogenicity remains unresolved. In closing, I acknowledge the many working groups, advisory groups, scientists, and staff in the Monographs program. Most importantly, today I honor the contributions of Professor Smith to the field of mechanistic evidence evaluation, together with the toxicologists, epidemiologists, and other scientists in the Monographs program. We raise a toast to you, Martin. Salut et santé, et à bientôt.
Well, I wish Mary was here to see me say thank you. That was really great by her and a good presentation.